Hello guys, welcome to the class. It's a shame that I couldn't be with you today personally, but I had some situations that were outside of my control that didn't allow me to be there. But don't worry, because we are still going to have the class. I have prepared this video for you so you can understand the topic from Unit 16. So I recommend you to watch it completely so you get to understand everything that we're going to see today. And if you had any question, you can let me know either through the chat or either on the next class on Monday, we can discuss a little bit about your questions. But without further ado, let's talk about the Unit 16, and its name is Making Excuses. Probably you have made an excuse before, right? And an excuse is something that we normally say or we normally make in order to not go to a certain event or not go to a certain situation, or probably to avoid a problematic event or situation that may have happened. But in order to understand it better, I want to share a little video with you in which we're going to see how to understand a little bit how we make excuses and the way in which we are going to use them in different ways. But let's check out the video, guys, so we can understand it a little bit better. I have it already here. So we're going to watch it. And as you see, I have the first situation in the video. And in the first situation, it says, why didn't you call? Like, you were supposed to call the person and probably you forgot about that, or you were doing something else and you didn't accomplish your promise. And you may say an excuse like this one, sorry, I was sleeping. But let's keep on watching the video and let's discover many, many other excuses that we have.
Why didn't you go hiking? I was in a car accident.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about this situation. Imagine that your friends invite you to a hike. If you don't know what a hike is, it's basically when you go walking on the mountains or in a place that it has a lot of rocks. And normally you go in groups, right? And probably your friends invite you and tell you, you know, Danny, you should come with us on Friday. We're going to go hiking, Santana's volcano, and that would be great. And probably, Danny, you forgot, or probably you didn't want to go. But at the end you say, yes, I will go. That would be great. And the day of the day of the trip, the day of the tour comes, and at the end you don't want to go, and you don't appear. Your friends go, have a great time, but you didn't want to go. And they ask you, hey, why didn't you go to the hike? I was in a car accident, and it was difficult, so that's why I didn't go. You understand, right? Normally, when we make excuses like this ones, it's because they tend to be something that is not real, or maybe something that it's a little bit real, but we tweak it a lot to make it more believable. We'll keep on watching to discover.
Why didn't you bring your books? Sorry, I forgot them.
This is one of the most common excuses that probably most of us have used at least one time. Even I had used it when I was a student, and it says, why didn't you bring your books? You are in a class, the teacher asks you, okay, take up your books, and we're going to go to page 93, and then you show that you don't have your books. And your teacher may ask you what happened to your books, and you say, sorry, teacher, I forgot them. I left them home, and that's why I don't have them with me at the moment. And this is an excuse that may be real, maybe not. Probably the reason why you don't have them is because you lend it to another person, you don't know where they are, and many, many other reasons why.
Why were you late? I had a meeting. Why didn't you do your homework? Sorry, I broke my hand.
So I want to stop on this example. It says, why didn't you do your homework, right? Like sometimes we forgot to do our homework assignment. I probably say, we'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and you forget. And then you may say, why didn't you do it? The teacher may ask you. You will say, sorry, I broke my hand. So I want you to notice that in this case, even though it's an excuse, it may be something real. But imagine that you have over here the cast, and obviously you cannot write. That's not an excuse, but it's something real. But normally, when we talk about excuses, we're going to talk about invented reasons of why we didn't do something.
I waited for 2 hours. Sorry, I had to vacuum the house.
This is like a more, regular excuse that we normally make, right? Like imagine if you had a meeting or you had an appointment with somebody, and let's say, okay, I will meet with Rodrigo at 2 p.m. today at Metro Centro, and at the end it's 2 o'clock, It's 3 o'clock, Rodrigo's still waiting, it's 4 o'clock, and you appear until 4 o'clock. And he asks you, hey, why did you took so long to come over here? And I was vacuuming the house, but in our case, we can say, you know, my mom was making me do the chores at home, or my mom was telling me to do this and that, or I had a lot of homework, or I had a lot of problems to come here. And sometimes the excuses may be real, sometimes they may be not, but we tend to do that in order to avoid getting into trouble or to avoid displeasing the person that we had been having a conversation with or having a promise to accomplish with. So I don't want to bore you with the rest of the video. You can check it out later if you want. It's over there. I will share it with you on the platform if you want to check it out later. But let's continue with the topic. And as I was explaining to you, basically, an excuse is something that we do every time that we want to get out of an uncomfortable situation, as we see over here, okay? We normally use excuses to get out of uncomfortable situation or problems. If you go to your book, you will see a lot of examples in page 106, and there is a little bit of exercise over there that you can complete. You can complete it with your book, or you can complete it with different cues that you will see over here on this video. But let's continue. Right now, I have this conversation prepared for you, and I know that we are not face-to-face right now, but I will read it for you so you can practice the pronunciation, and then you can do it at home. You can pause the video at any time so you can practice together with me, you know, or you can practice it together with me on Monday. But right now, I will leave this over here, so in case you want to see the pronunciation, it's going to be available to you. First, we start with Mary. It's a conversation between Mary and Erica, and we are going to see a lot of vocabulary that is on this conversation. You notice that the vocabulary is on green and it's already underlined. So it's important words that we need to know. There are some that we already know the meaning, but we're going to go over the meaning as well. So we start with Mary and says, Erica, I had to back out at the 11th hour, but Jake and I aren't going to be able to make it to your dinner party tomorrow night. Erica responds, what a shame. Did something come up? Yes, we had to go to a party at Jake's Bob's house. Jed had told me about it a couple of weeks ago, but it slipped my mind. You're going to be missing out of a great meal. I'm making duck with olives and couscous. I already bought the duck. You better freeze some of it. I feel awful. You must think I'm the biggest flake. Don't sweat it. These things happen. Let me make it up to you. I'd like you and Alex to come to dinner to a place next Saturday. Okay, that sounds good. Oh, I just remember Alex's parents are visiting for the weekend. Bring them along too. The more the merrier. I better check with Alex. I call you later today to confirm. Okay, that is the conversation. Let's listen to it once more. I will practice a little bit slower. I will leave a little bit of a time for you to practice if you want to be Mary or if you want to be Erica. I will start being Mary this time so I can start pronouncing and you can continue with the next line. I will give you like a couple of seconds to say it so we can kind of practice it together face to face. Erica, I hate to back out at the 11th hour, but Jake and I aren't going to be able to make it to your dinner party tonight. What a shame. Did something come up? Yes, we have to go to a party at Jake's boss house. Jake had told me about it a couple of weeks ago, but it slipped my mind. You are going to be missing out on a great meal. I'm making duck with olives and couscous. I already bought the duck. You better freeze some of it. I feel awful. You must think I'm the biggest flake. Don't sweat it. These things happen. Okay, let me make it up to you. I'd like you and Alex to come to dinner at our new place next Saturday. Okay, that sounds good. Oh, I just remember Alex's parents are visiting for the weekend. Bring them along too. The more the merrier. I better check with Alex. I'll call you later today to confirm. So you notice that is the conversation. You notice that there is a lot of vocabulary, but it's really understandable as long as you pay attention to how it's used throughout the conversation. For example, we have over here, back out at the 11th hour. That means that you changed your mind in the last minute. Like you were about to go, but in the last minute, you call somebody to confirm that you're not going. Then make it up to you. That means that you want to repay something to somebody. Like if you didn't do anything nice for them, but you want to do a nice action in order to repay their kindness, you can do that. What a shame, that means, you know, that's a shame, that it's something bad, but I understand. And did something come up? It's like anything else happen, or did any important situation occur? That's why you cannot come in. It slipped my mind. That means that I forgot, okay? That I was thinking probably about many other stuff, but at the end of the day, I forgot. Missing out, that means that you're not going to be able to enjoy something or not be able to experience something. We have other words like a flake, a don't sweat it, these things happen, make it up to you, sounds good, the more the merrier, but let's check some of the most complex one by one. We have the example of at the 11th hour, that as I was explaining to you in the conversation, the meaning is at the last minute, okay? At the last minute. So that means that everything was ready, you were supposed to go, but at the end you couldn't do it. And we have the example that Ken and Dana were supposed to get married on Sunday, but she got nervous at the 11th hour and canceled the wedding. So what we are saying is that imagine the situation, they are in the wedding, you know, Ken and Dana have been prepared for this, and Ken suddenly got nervous and he decided, you know, I'm not ready to get married, I cannot come out. And at the 11th hour, he didn't want to do it. So in the last minute, he regretted and he decided to cancel everything out. We have the next one that is back out, okay? Back out. That in this case is to break an engagement, an appointment, a promise, or an agreement. Like, for example, imagine that you have a meeting with one of your friends one time, and at the end you say, you know, man, I will have to back out because I have to do this important thing this day at the same hour, and I cannot leave that behind. So we have the example. I know I promised to drive you to the airport on Friday, but I'm going to have to back out. Okay, I'm going to have to back out. I'm going to have to break out that promise for you. That means that even though I promise it, I won't be able to accomplish it. Note that back out is often followed by of. Katie agreed, the host, the exchange student, but now she's trying to back out of it. So she had an agreement. In this case, she had a promise, but at the end she regretted or she was not convinced and she decided to back out. Basically, she said, no, I will not do this anymore. Don't sweat it. It's another word, or it's another way to say, don't worry about it. When somebody tells you, no, I'm sorry for what happened, and it's a shame, you can say, don't sweat it. There's no problem about it. We have the example, I'm really sorry, but I think I can pick up from the airport tomorrow, Saturday. Don't sweat it. Okay, don't worry about it. We have a flake, that in this case, a flake is an unreliable person, someone you can count on. So if, for example, you have a friend that you know that you invite to many places, that you invite to many meetings, but he never goes. And you know that he's a flake. He's somebody that will never be there. No matter what you do, no matter what you tell him, he's never going to appear, okay? And we have the example, Cindy asked me to call her at 8 o'clock last night. And when I called, her husband said she was out with a friend. What a flake, like what an unreliable person. She was telling me that she was going to be there and at the end she wasn't, okay? Okay, now we have, sorry, I guess we have more vocabulary. No, just that one. Then we have to talk about the structure for today and its reported speech. Okay, reported speech request. And you may be asking yourself, okay, teacher, but what's a request and what the reported speech? Okay, it's really simple. Imagine that we have two types of speech. One of them is called direct speech and the other one is called reported speech. What's the difference? The direct speech is the phrase or the word that a person says. And the reported speech is how you will tell what a person said to somebody else. It sounds complicated, but let me show it to you with some examples. For example, in the direct request or the direct speech, you will have a person saying the following. Could you open the window, please? Could you open the window, please? That means that this person is saying this phrase. She is the person saying this phrase. Let's say that this person is, her name is Gabriela, okay, for saying something. Gabriela said, could you open the window, please? Okay, that's what Gabriela is saying. She's creating the word, she's creating the sentence. And then you have the reported request, okay? She asked me to open the window. She asked me to open the window. I will show you how to make this conversion from direct to reported. He said, please do not smoke. He asked me not to smoke, okay? Please do not smoke. He asked me not to smoke. But let's see how these things are making. We usually introduce reported requests with the verb ask, okay? The structure is very simple. So normally you have a request, okay? Like a favor that somebody's asking you to do. and then you will transform it. And in order for you to transform it, you will add the subject, okay? Then you will have the verb ask, that it can be, in this case, in past. You will have a noun and a pronoun, and you know by now that a noun is the name of something or somebody or a place. And then a pronoun is basically a particle that replaces that name. Like, for example, instead of saying Jose for saying something, you can say he. Instead of saying Leticia, you can say she. Instead of saying Mario and Pedro, you can say we or us, etc. And then you're going to use an infinitive. You remember we saw the infinitives in the last class, and they is basically just the word to plus any other verb. We have some examples over here. Like, we have the direct request, like I said politely, please make less noise. This is my request. This is a favor that I'm asking to another person. And then the other person is telling this to somebody else, and it says, I asked them politely to make less noise. You are reporting. What do I mean by reporting? Is, in Spanish, contárselo a alguien más o contárselo a alguien. That's the meaning of reported speech. So she said, she has often said to me, could you stay the night? Okay, could you stay tonight? She often asked me to stay at night. Okay, she often asked me to stay at night. So they say to the architect, we'd like to meet over here, to meet us here tomorrow. They ask the architect to meet with them the next day. Okay, so these are some examples, but now let's see how we can use them to create our own reported speech versions about something. Let me go back to where I was so I can show you some examples on how they are done. Okay, let's go back to the website, and we have this ready over here. Okay, so in order to create a reported request, first you need a request, okay, or a favor that somebody may ask you. And a request can be like this one. Like, for example, any favor that you may ask. If I am asking for the favor, I, teacher Robert, then I can start like this one. I say, okay, this is not part of the sentence. This is just to say that it is implied that I am the person speaking, okay? I am the person speaking. It's like if you had a little, for example, imagine, let me do a drawing to you so you understand it better. But imagine that over here, this little drawing that I'm making right now, even though I know it's so beautiful, this is me, okay? And I am the one speaking, I'm the one saying something. I say, close, I will write it over here because it's a mess to make the letters over there. But I say, could you close the window, okay? Could you close the window? That is the thing that I'm saying. And since I am the one I'm saying it, it will always be between quotations because those are the exact same words that I will be asking. Like, for example, I was saying to you, this little drawing, it's me, right? It's me. But imagine that I'm asking this favor, like, could you close the window to somebody else? And let's say that this person over here would be one of you, maybe Ludwig, maybe Daniel, maybe Leticia. You have a happy face, okay? You have a happy little face because you're really, really happy. And I'm asking this favor to you, okay? I'm asking this favor to you. And then you have another person over here. And when I ask you this favor, you want to tell somebody else, and then you are going to tell this other person, what did the teacher ask you? And you may say, okay, you know, I will report it. We'll write it over here so you find it. And then we will have the reported version. Basically, the reported is to say to somebody else what someone told you. O en español, contarle a alguien lo que alguien ya nos dijo. ¿Ok? Por ejemplo, como por ejemplo, cuando en español yo digo, ya pueden retirarse de la clase. Y alguien pregunta, ¿qué dijo el teacher? Él dijo que ya nos podíamos ir de la clase. ¿Okay? Él dijo que ya nos podíamos ir de la clase. Básicamente estoy repitiendo lo que ya otra persona dijo, pero de otra manera. Simple y sencillamente eso es el reported speech. So I said, could you close the window? And let's suppose, since I am the one speaking, teacher Robert is the one speaking, you are going to use the following word. First, who is the person talking? I. Therefore, there is something that you should be careful about. And depending on the subject that you have over here, you are going to have a different pronoun, okay? Like in this case, I'm going to say he asked, in this case, to whom am I asking this, okay? To whom am I asking? Let's suppose that this person over here, it's Ludwig, okay? Like for saying something, let's say it's Ludwig. And I will say, he asked Ludwig to close the window, okay? He asked Ludwig to close the window. Remember that I was showing you the structure in the last slide. And remember that for making the reported speech version, you will need a subject, okay? In this case, maybe a pronoun or a noun. You will have then the verb ask, that in most of the cases will be in the past. You will have a pronoun, okay, or a name, or a noun, sorry. In this case, Ludwig is my noun because it's the name of a person. And then you will have an infinitive, okay, that is the word to plus a verb. And finally, you will have the complement, any complement you want. Let's make everything in the same color so it's more understandable to you. But let's see, the subject is purple. Okay, the subject is purple over here. We're going to have the verb ask in maybe a little bit of red. Yeah, red is okay. Then we're going to have the pronoun or the noun that it will be in blue. We're going to have the name of Ludwig as well in blue. Okay, perfect. And now we just have the infinitive that we're going to put it in green. And to put it in green here as well. Okay, in green as well. And finally, we're going to leave the complement in black so it's more understandable. And we're going to do the thing that we always do. We're going to place them in the right position so you'll understand what each of the different parts of the sentence is. Okay, perfect. That's beautiful. And then you have it. Okay, so I'm following this structure. This is what a person said. This is how I reported. Esto es lo que alguien ya dijo. Así es como yo lo cuento. And then I will say, I will have the subject. Why I will have he? Because these sentences, I say, could you close the window? And you know that the one speaking, it's me, it's teacher Robert. And you know that I'm a he, right? And therefore, you're going to say, he said, he asked Ludwig to close the window, okay? Could you close the window? Or instead of Ludwig, you can say me, okay? He asked me to close the window. Let's see another example to understand it better. I have another request. Oops. I have another request over here that we're going to take a look at. And we're going to say, in this time, we're going to have Leticia says, okay? Leticia says. Remember that this part is not included in the request. This is just to exemplify who is saying the thing. Can you lend me your eraser, okay? Can you lend me your eraser? That is the request that Leticia has for somebody, right? She's asking for a favor to another person. She needs an eraser, and probably she's asking either Daniel, Ludwig, or somebody else if they had an eraser that they can lend them. In this case, since we are talking about Leticia, the pronoun that we are going to use to substitute Leticia is going to be she, because Leticia is a female. Therefore, instead of saying Leticia said, you can say Leticia asked as well, or you can say just she asked. She asked, okay? She asked, instead, this time we're going to use the pronoun me, okay? She asked me, now we need the infinitive, okay? And the infinitive will come from this verb that is over here, okay? This is the verb, and therefore I will need to turn this verb into an infinitive. And I will say, she asked me to lend an eraser, okay? She asked me to lend an eraser. She wants an eraser, she needs it. Let's take a look at some of the examples. Just allow me a second. Okay. We are going to see this other example, and we have this one. Let's say that in this case, two persons are talking, and we're going to say, Carlos and Walter say Could you tell us the time? Could you tell us the time? Okay. Pueden decirnos la hora. Could you tell us the time? And in this case, we will have that in this case, since we're talking about two people, we can say, instead of saying Carlos and Walter again, we can say they. They asked. In this case, it can be you, it can be me, it can be somebody, but we always are going to have a pronoun or the name of a person over here. So you can say, could you tell us the time? Imagine that they are asking this question to you, okay? They are asking you in a specific, could you tell us the time? And since they are asking you, you're going to say, they asked me, okay, to tell the time, okay? They asked me to tell the time. But let's imagine the following, and let's imagine that in this case, Danielle says, could you open the window? Okay, he's asking for a favor and said, could you open the window? But in this time, let's assume that in this time, Danielle is asking Leticia to open the window. And in this case, we're going to say he, or we're going to keep the name Danielle. You can have Danielle as well, so you can see it. Danielle asked, in this case, since he's asking Leticia in specific, the only way to know to whom is this question addressed, to whom they are asking, is to see the person or to be in the same place with that person. But Daniel asked Leticia to open the window, okay? Daniel asked Leticia to open the window. This is the way in which we're going to do reported questions, okay? Or reported speech for request. Somebody asked for a favor, and then you say, he asked me to do this. She asked you to do the following. We or they asked us to complete this, or we ask you, okay, because even you can use it. We ask you to not say anything about it, okay? So for example, in this case, they say, please sit down, okay? Please sit down. This is your request. This is the favor that you're asking, okay? The favor that you're asking. In this case, we can say, they asked. In this case, we're talking about us, okay? We're talking about everybody. It's supposedly that they say sit down, like we have Mr. Renares and many other teachers, and they see you in the classroom and they ask you to sit down. In this case, they ask us to sit down, okay? To sit down. There is something that I want you to remember, and it's that in order for you to make a request, to create a request, you can always use the words could, you can always use the word can, or you can use the words would, okay, would. And if you remember how to make questions, it's really simple to make. It's like, could you pass me the salt? Could you do this for me? Can you open the door for me? Can you lend me your cell phone? Would you lend me $5? Would you do this for me, etc. That is how you make a request. And in the case of the reported speech, I just want you to remember the following. That in this case, we're going to use them to report what someone else has said. Lo vamos a usar para contar lo que alguien más nos ha dicho. Contar lo que alguien más nos ha dicho usando palabras diferentes. En este caso podemos usar en la parte que está en azul, que es el pronoun o el noun. We can use the name of a person, a place, or animal if we know to whom they are talking. Si nosotros sabemos a quién le están hablando. But if you don't know, in this case, you can use a pronoun. But what kind of pronoun are you going to use? Okay, you're going to use the object pronouns, okay? If you don't remember what the object pronouns are, we have me, that it will be the object pronoun for. It's going to be the object pronoun for I. If the object pronoun for you is the same you, it doesn't change. The object pronoun for she is going to be her. The object pronoun for he is going to be him, okay? The object pronoun for it is going to be the same one, it's going to be it. If the object pronoun for we, sorry, I will make this bigger. The object pronoun for we is going to be us. And the object pronoun for they, it's going to be them. So In this position, in the part that says pronoun or noun, you can use any of these words, okay? You can use any of these words. I, if you're talking about I, if you're talking about yourself, you can say me. If you're talking about somebody else, you can say you. If you're talking about a girl, you can say her. And if you're talking about a boy, you can say him, etc. That's the way in which you use them. That's the object pronouns. So that is something that you need to remember. Just to summarize everything, once you have a request, it's a favor that somebody asks you. And a reported request is basically saying in different words what the person asked to you or to somebody else. And you say it to a different person. And for that, you're going to need the subject. It can be either a pronoun like I, he, she, we, you, they. It can be the name of the person that is asking you the favor, etc. Then you're going to have the verb ask, that in this case is going to be always in past. Okay, it's going to always, 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 always be in past. You're going to have the pronoun or the noun, that in this case will be any of these words, okay? It will be me, it will be you, it will be her, it will be him, it will be it will be also, it will be them. Then you need an infinitive, and if you don't remember what an infinitive is, it's basically the word to plus the verb, okay? The word to plus the verb. We have, for example, over here, to lend, to tell, to open, to sit down, to close, and many, many others that we can use. With that, we're going to end the explanation and the class of today, guys. I hope that this video has been helpful for you. And in order for you to understand things better, I want you to work, please, on the exercise 106 of the book, the one that I was mentioning you over here, 106, work on it, and work on the following exercises of Unit 16 from the workbook, either exercises 1 to 5, so you can get a better idea of how to use the structure. If you have any question in it out, let me know either through a message or let me know through the platform. I will be really, really glad to help you out to understand the topic better, or we can review this on Monday as well, if in the case you have more questions or you don't understand something in specific, I will be there to help you out. And with that, we're going to finish the class. Take care, please. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see each other on Monday, God's willing, okay? Bye-bye.